Hey everybody, in our last video assignment we built a cube out of small puzzle pieces. Problem with the puzzle pieces is that they all were built from individual cubes, like the base cube over and over, 0.75. So when we go to make our final drawings and things, it's not going to look right because we have too many little tiny cubes instead of one big cube. So a good way of creating a puzzle piece that's solid is to learn how to make parametric dimensions, and I'll show you what parametric dimensions are and that kind of stuff. So I just want to give you a heads up of what we're doing. We're going to take a puzzle piece like this one and we're going to draw it again, and this time we're going to use parametric dimensions. So if you want to know what you named your puzzle piece, you open up your assembly drawing and you highlight it, and over here in your browser it shows you which piece that is. So in this case we're going to start out, we're going to draw this piece right here, and it's going to be 2 blocks tall, and it's going to be 3 blocks wide. Then we're going to extrude back from this side 2 blocks and show you how to do it. So we're just going to go to iPro, New, and Part, Create. And we're going to create in any view you want. We'll just use the front view because it always shows front here upright. I don't have to flip it. I like to kind of move this down a little bit, and then I like to draw from there. Okay, so basically I'm not going to measure anything at first, but I'm going to put measurements on it later. So I'm going to start with a line, and my line is going to go over, up, back, and down. So in essence I have created this face right here, and I want to put some dimensions on it now. Okay, so your first dimension is a base dimension. So whatever you tell the computer that this is, this will be our first dimension that we make exactly the right size. 0.75 is the distance of any of our blocks. So that one from there's going to be 0.75. So when I click that, it enlarges. And now what I want to do is I want to say this is the root number that all of the dimensions that I use are going to be based off of. We call this parametric dimensioning. And what we're doing is we're telling the computer to set up a database, and instead of saying the number that this measurement is, which we know it is 2 times 0.75, which is 1.5, the distance from there to there is going to be 1.5. Well, instead of telling it to do that, we're just going to tell it to be this measurement times 2. So we'll show you. First of all, let's just make this measurement the same as that measurement. So we're going to sit here and we're going to click here, we're going to click here, then we're going to click on this measurement one time. Changes it to D0. D0 is a cell in a database field. So whatever's in D0, that's the number that's going to appear here. So when we click check, it became, see that, a function, 0.75. It means this is always going to be the same as that. So if I change this, it's going to change that automatically. The benefit of parametric dimensioning is if you make something like our cubes and you want to, they're all 0.75, then you wanted to enlarge that in one step, you would find your root cube and you would change the number on the root cube and make it bigger. And the whole puzzle, every piece of the dimensioning would be bigger. Okay, so we've got this done, and now we can go quickly. We can click here, come to here, and we can say this times 2. Shift 8 and 2, enter. So that becomes a function 1.5. And then let's see, this is 3 blocks wide, so you can either dimension this or you can dimension that. We don't need to dimension this one because we have 1.5 here, we subtract 0.75, This is already 0.75. If you try to dimension this one, it's going to tell you, well, you got too many dimensions. So you have a choice. You can do this one or this one. I'm going to do this one just because, and then I'm going to click there. Then I'm going to click there and say times 3. And the reason I'm doing that is because this measurement right here is 3 of our base cubes wide. 0.75 times 3 is 2.25. So now we have our beginning of our block. This surface over here has been drawn. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to extrude it a depth. The depth that we're going to extrude it, D0. D0 is 0.75. Then we're going to extrude off of that 2 times D0. I hope this is making sense. It's confusing at first, but after you've done it, a couple of your parts, you'll start to understand. So I'm going to click on 3D Model, Extrude, and since I've started the process of getting parametric dimensioning, then the parametric dimensions are already here. And what I can do is I can tell this measurement. Let me move this out of the way just a little bit. Move this down here so you can see all of the stuff. I can tell this measurement to change and be this, D0. When I click on it, or I can type in D0, it doesn't matter. It goes back to that same database cell that's stored somewhere on the computer, which I'll show you some other time. And then when you click check, you're good to go. Now I just need this piece to go back that way. And it's got to go back to, I think it's 2 blocks. Let's look. Yeah, it's got to go 2 more blocks back that way. So I'm going to rotate around. I'm going to right click here, new sketch. I'm going to draw myself a box, and that is going to be 0.75 by 0.75. I happen to get lucky. And then I'm going to extrude that. And what am I going to do? D0 is the default because that's the last thing I did, times 2. And I'm going to click check. Now I've got to color it. I'm going to make the adjust. It really doesn't matter if you pick the exact same color as you did last time. Who cares? So you're just going to choose and hit the green. Just make it a color. It may or I may not be able to find all of the colors that you choose. We're going to, when we build our projects, we're going to have to just use what we have. Okay, so that is a quick and easy look at how to draw one of your pieces. Your piece, this one is called a Cube 6A, and I'll save it as Cube 6A. iPro, save as. Now, in the folder that you're using, this one is a part. In the folder that you've got all your stuff in, you want to be organized. Yeah, I want it to be in my folder. I wonder why I'm only seeing these. I guess because the others are assemblies. Yeah, the others are assemblies, so I'm not seeing them. I'm only seeing Autodesk Inventor parts now. If I click here and show all files, now I see all of the assemblies that look like this and all of the parts that look like that. So I just need to say Cube 6A. 6A. You might want to call it solid, something like that, that lets you know as you're looking through here which ones are solid and which ones are built off of the base cube. Click save. Okay, so that's our first one done. I want to demonstrate why we're having to do this before time runs out, and get your first part on the drawing sheet. So let's see. I'm going to open up me pause for just a second. So I'd forgotten where I put my title block that I was using earlier, and I had to go digging around. I went into the downloads folder and got the title block out again, and we'll look at how to draw with the title block. So we're going to open our title block. When we open our title block, we've got the small title block here, and we've got a large piece of paper to work from. Now we want to add the puzzle piece that we have just created. That's the Cube 6A Solid IPT. If yours doesn't show up, whatever you've named it, then you click here and you go dig for it and you find it and you put it in. So we want it to come in as the front view, and the scale I'm not sure of yet. I'll change it on the fly. So I'll just click OK, and there it is. So that would be the front, this would be the top, and this would be the right side of it. And this would be the isometric of it. Right click, create. Okay, so I can move these around. The front view is always in control of the right and the top view. You're going to have a little bit of space, or a lot of space, to get all of your pieces in. So you're going to need to crunch them in there pretty good. Now you can see I've got one solid block, and I can see the dotted line that represents this part, and then a dotted line here represents this part on back. So if we didn't do that, let's show you what we would have ended up with. Let's click on base, and let's go back and find, just as an example, the Cube 6A without it being solid. Cube 6A right there, and open. Now we're going to come in with the front view, and we're going to see this is what it would look like had we not taken the time to fix it. We'll put these over here so that we can talk about it for just a minute. You can see here it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because all you see is a bunch of little squares here, and the square, let's see, the square right here is actually something that has depth to it, and you can't see the depth from it. So that's why we're going to the trouble of drawing all of these out. Also, double click on this one, hit the shaded button just like we did with our other cubes, and make that solid. And you're going to have all of your cubes, and then you're going to dimension them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these cubes. So you do not need to show me the ones that have too many squares on them. You only need to show me the ones that we can dimension, like this. Alright, so then once we get these things in here right, we're going to spread them out a little bit, and we're going to put some measurements on them by annotating. We're going to zoom in on it, and we're going to dimension it. So I need to know what are the dimensions here. Just click OK, that'll be fine. And here. And what is the other dimension that I might need? I'm going to need the dimension for this one. Trying to put them on the part that is the actual measurement. I don't want to go dimension to a hidden line. And I'm going to need the dimension for this one. Let's go with this one first. Then let's put the measurement for this one second. Okay, so I have dimensions of width here, here, and here, and I have dimensions of height here, depth here and here, and now I just need dimensions of height. So I can measure this measurement here. There's 100 ways to do this, and I could also measure from this line to this line and pull it out here. 100 ways to do it. I think I've measured everything now. Everything has a dimension on it, depth-wise, height, and width that's needed. So every one of your drawings, make sure you dimension. And I'll talk to you next time.